Hi guys, today we're going to be focusing on one of my favorite photographers, but also just one of my favorite human beings on the planet, Mr. Fer Juaristi. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And if you are new here, my name is Gerrard. I am a wedding portrait music photographer from the UK, but now living in Montreal. And on this channel, I talk about all kinds of stuff to do with photography. But today, it's a little bit different because I'm going to talk about photography to one of my friends and all-round amazing photographer, Fer Juaristi, down in Mexico. This is the first in a series of videos I hope to do with other photographers. So it's a little bit longer, but hopefully you'll get a lot of value from it. You can just listen to it if you want, or you can watch because there are going to be things flashing up on the screen, especially pictures that were taken by Fer. We're going to talk about his style, how every wedding is a bit of an experiment for him, how he interacts with his couples, how he collaborates with his couples, also his love of music. He used to be in a band, so we're going to talk music a little bit, especially at the end. And he's going to give the advice that he would give to himself if he was starting out in his career as a photographer today. I've been a huge fan of Fer's work for about a decade now, and not only did I host one of his workshops in the UK a few years ago, but he's also done a family shoot for me, which I talked about in another video. And I just love everything he does, and he's definitely an inspiration. So stick around and enjoy. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Yesterday I just got my second vaccine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, here in Mexico, a lot of people are flying to the US to get it there. But my visa got expired, so I had to wait for the Mexican version. So yeah, I got the Pfizer. So
Same.
on weddings, it's decent. Maybe like a third of what I normally shoot. So I'm doing a lot of the educational part to compensate,
Yeah,
like income wise and like headspace as well.
for sure.
Yeah, so I truly can't complain, man. It's been a ride for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And even as bad as it gets for some of us, there's always so many people that had it worse. You just have to remember that and just like appreciate what you've got, right? So what's your day looking like today? What's a Thursday like for Fer Juaristi?
Well, usually on previously to this situation, I will just get my gear ready to travel. Usually, I travel from Friday until Sunday or even Monday. But nowadays, I've become like a video editor again, man. Yeah, I love editing, but because of I was too busy, I just let it be. So I started to educate myself. Yeah, educating videos. Like I know, like maybe 6% of Final Cut now.
Oh yeah.
But now it's easier. There's so many like templates and effects that you can apply to your stuff. So yeah, for me, like today, I will be like editing a few like family pictures that I have been doing as well. Um, canceling a few other things as well because yeah, sometimes in Mexico people are we still want our 400 guests wedding. And I'm like, sorry, I can't. Uh, so yeah, it's been like trying to play with the future. Like I don't know. I'm 42 now. So acknowledging that you're not the up and trendy guy, but at the same time you're like, fuck yeah, I've done it. I've been doing this 15 plus years. So it's having a lot of faith in the things that you have done, but as well acknowledging the things that you have sucked at for so long as well. It's so
Right.
easy to hide them, right? Like, oh, things are going on. Okay, I'm the king, and you're just like, yeah, this is whatever.
Yeah, you need to prioritize what you focus all your energy on, right? You can't focus your energy on everything, and you can't be the jack of all trades. You can't be great at everything at once. And you certainly nailed down what you were doing from very early on. Actually, I want to ask you, like, for people that don't really know about your story, like I have a lot of people who follow my channel that are beginners. They might not be aware of you. Do you want to just like tell us a little bit about your journey, not just through photography, but like, your life as a person, but then as a photographer, real quick?
Definitely, Steve. Well, my name is Fer, or Fernando Juaristi. I live in Mexico, in the northeast part of the country, and I was the kid who was always a bit lost, like daydreaming, not knowing what to do with their life, but always full of imaginations, like failed ideas. Like, what if we do this? What if we do that? And like, how you say, reality didn't stick to them. I was always just trying to mix and match all my the things that I love the most. Since my first passion was music, I played drums from 12 to like on bands and stuff until I was like 22, and that was my universe. Just like going to play and be in a rehearsal room with other creatives and see what the hell can we do together.
What kind of bands were you playing in?
It was like pop rock bands. I was never like the heavy metal, like yeah, dude. It was more like, I don't know, the keyboard player. His father, he was an old school like rock fan, so he was always trying to get us into like Deep Purple, and then I was listening to like Mexican pop and US rock. So we were like, okay, what if we do this with that? Like it was always a mix, but always acknowledging, like, if you want to live out of this, at least in Mexico, you have to make it a bit commercial. Here, most of my friends were or are musicians, and nowadays they have to play like reggaeton and that kind of stuff, because it's so hard to be a niche musician here, or a niche anything,
right?
Because all of the arts are like a luxury, or can be a luxury. So you have to always be balancing that. Okay, I want to be an artist, but nobody's going to be like, yeah, bravo. No, you have to create your art and make a living out of it.
Right.
So I started photographing because we started to become big in our city, and we needed the flyers for our gigs.
Yeah.
And I was in high school then, and a professor of mine, I was learning how to be an electrician, how to like climb the poles and change things up there. So he brought the camera, took some pictures of us, and then tried to sell them. That was how he make an extra money with their students, because it was how say, not a private one, a public school.
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked if I could have the camera, and I grabbed a photography book just to learn the basics, and I just got extremely hooked to the visual arts. And then it's so different to play a record and have the art in front of you. And again, it was a collaboration. Like, the photographer has to know the artist and say, okay, like, I think the concept goes in this direction or in that direction. And I just got obsessed with that. Like, how can something has to be perceived visually and musically, or with your ears as well.
Yeah.
And that was my go-to, man. I just started to stop trying to become the best drummer, and I was trying to become an amazing visual creator or artist.
Amazing. That's a really interesting way to get into photography, I think. Is there, around that point, was there one photograph or one photographer in particular that kind of inspired you on your journey? Because you've obviously created a very sort of unique look to your photography that that a lot of people have been inspired by now. Who inspired you around that time to sort of take chances, which is something I know you're the best at?
Well, I think the first guy who really got my imagination, his name is Pete Turner, and he just captured reality, and usually without people. So he just was walking and found like a trash can, but it was like yellow and red, and then with the ocean on the background, and it was extremely graphical, and for me that was like, wow, I don't have to live in Uganda, or I don't have to be a photojournalist to try to capture beautiful things in normal situations. And till this day, every time I see a picture of him, and he was like pre-Photoshop, he was one of the masters of playing with colors for me. And I still remember, like, I still want to emulate his work till this day. Every time I try to grab my camera, I was like, okay, what will Pete do here? Without the couple, like the couple, it's a secondary piece of element in your pictures. And yeah, it's magical how you can play with spaces, and how you can combine colors, because I don't have any other talent. I'm not an artist who you can like give him a pen and create art. I knew that I needed an instrument of interpretation. Like, my insides are empty. I just try to capture the things that grab my attention, and then I ask the what if, and try to add the Mexican salt.
Well, I like the Mexican sauce that you bring to everything. So tell me about like how you ended up moving into wedding photography, especially, like, because there's a lot of photographers that kind of turn their nose up at wedding photography and don't see it as a particularly creative outlet. Obviously, you're proof that that's not true. So did you have any reluctance about getting into wedding photography at the beginning?
Well, it goes again back to music. After I went to college, I started to work at a newspaper, and then at a TV station. And then I started to do advertising and music videos for like independent rock bands, and then like Tex-Mex music as well, because that was where the money was.
Right.
And then the guitar player of the band that I was in high school told me, hey, I'm getting married. And at that time, I was just done with commercial work. It wasn't anything like national or international. It was just like a one dude with a camera trying to do amazing things. I was doing the editing. I was writing the story. I was lighting with like Home Depot lights as well. It was the era of like mini DV cameras, like before digital. Yeah. And I just had so much fun. And Robert Rodriguez, he's like a filmmaker. He did like Sin City.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So that guy, I went to a library, and I found a book of him that's called Rebel Without a Crew. And he explained, how he made his first movie that's called El Mariachi with less than $5,000. And how he earned the money, and how he met the cast and crew, and how not having things was a challenge, instead of becoming an inactivity. Oh, I don't have the fancy camera, I cannot work. He was like, I have this old camera, I have a wheelchair that I can use as a dolly. So for me, that has become an amazing element of my life. You don't have to have the perfect anything in front of you to create something personal that has a soul. And the guitar player told me, I'm getting married. So I was like, hey, I don't have money. I cannot give him cash or buy him a gift. So I went to Google and type fotógrafo de bodas. That's like wedding photography in Spanish. And I saw all the cliche images, and I was like, no, this sucks. and then I type it in English, like, okay, wedding photography. and I saw, I don't know if you remember, there was like a video called Masters of Wedding Photography.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because I've seen you talk about this before about the first photographers, and I'll let you tell that story. But me and you were inspired by two photographers that are very different at the beginning of our careers. The same two photographers.
Wow.
But carry on. But I remember Masters of Wedding Photography. Yeah, I remember watching that DVD.
Yeah, well, I even got the DVD. I ripped it like a pirate version, man, because like my rent back then was like 50 euros, man. You know, I was living in a small apartment with so many roommates. You know, it was just like, it is what it is. Because I'm very proud. I didn't want to get help from my parents, and they were like, no, I want to prove myself that I can do this. Stupid things, but they work at the end, you know. And so that DVD, it was like a big brother, right? It was like the a day in a life of a wedding photographer, and it shows so many photographers. I don't know if, I think they were like 2 volumes. They were like 8 photographers, if I don't remember. And I saw this guy with like Leica cameras shooting on film, very inintrusive, just hitting like nothing was posed. And then the other opposite, you know, the guy who was like the fashion photographer doing weddings.
Okay, I'm gonna guess who you're talking about because I think it's the same two guys that I'm talking about. Jeff Ascough and Jerry Ghionis.
Definitely, yes.
Yes. And I actually went on workshops with both of those guys early on in my career. And like you say, they couldn't really be much different from each other. And that made me realize there's no rules in wedding photography. You can make it what you want. Same?
That's it. Same. But it's a clash with reality because, okay, I saw these amazing samples of what you can aspire to become. Beautiful. Then I went to like a wedding expo here, and then I saw like no one's doing that here. So I don't know if people are willing to buy into it.
Yeah.
You know, because at that time you're seeing like masters in their craft. You know, you guess like, oh, they just grab the camera and magic happens in front of them. You know, and again, like on workshops that happens a lot. Like I teach a lot of workshops, and you can see the expressions of students when they're like, no, that's not possible. You know, like in my small town that can happen, or they will never pay X amount of money, or if you chop their heads off, they want to see their full body shots. So it's a brave path to try to emulate, because again, it's an emulation. You see something that you love with all your like visual baggage, and then you say, okay, let's see if I can apply this, because you can't try to like fit or stand. And if you want to fit in, it's going to be very vanilla. Everything's going to be quite similar.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to aim high, and high, not, you know, like the quality of something visually, it's so intangible. It's so hard to say, oh, this is good or this sucks. But I just wanted to make it as personal as possible, to see if I could have fun photographing weddings. And that's how I entered weddings, because it was the wedding was of a friend. It was never like it's a business.
Yeah.
So I started for fun, and then, okay, let's see if I can make money out of this.
What we see of your work online on Instagram and all that, you know, we see the very creative side of what you do. Mm-hmm. But obviously, there's limits to how creative you can be throughout an entire wedding day.
Yes.
I guess you take the family shots and things like that. Do you try and put your own spin on those, or do you just kind of get those done because that's part of wedding photography?
Yeah, I think it's every wedding it's different, but I don't want to be like disrespectful with their memories, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think there's there's a space of time to go bananas and experiment and see what happens, and then there's a time to create beautiful timeless moments for your couples and for future families.
Yes.
So I think, and I'm very honest with this, I excel on 5% of the day, and with that 5%, I have make my brand.
So on your website, you talk about how, and you're very open with people from the beginning, which I think is a way of filtering out certain clients. You talk about your wedding is going to be an experiment. We're going to take risks together. We need to build trust between us. Talk a little bit about that and why you've made that so clear on your website that it's a collaboration between you and the clients rather than you just being a photographer at that wedding.
Yeah, because it's so easy to throw bullshit out there. It's so easy to say, just book me, and I'm gonna become your monkey. And as a creator that photograph weddings, you want to know for sure that your work is going to be valued. So I want them to enter to this gallery that they feel welcomed. Trying to get where the misfits are, and not the misfits in a punk way. Just people who are like just tired of traditional wedding photography, and maybe it was like 4 years ago that I got to the concept to say, okay, I think that what I want them to understand, it's like when we're together, we're at least gonna try to press pause to reality, and then enter this bubble and create dreams together.
Nice.
And but it took me like 11 years to understand that concept, because sometimes you create by, I don't know, by willpower, because you know how your brain works. But when you try to put it into words, it's like, holy shit, like okay, it's more difficult than I thought. So I try to work with different creators, like with a new website. I hire like two writers and an amazing web designers, so we can sit together and say, okay guys, okay, help me put this stuff and this stuff in order, because I can't. And again, sometimes as artists or creators, it's so ego driven, and if you're talented enough, yes, bravo, amazing, but if you're not honest enough with your couples, like, hey guys, do you like my portfolio? Yes, okay, I need all these pieces to try to create something similar for you. And before this, I had so many struggles, like, I don't know, non-photographers think that when they see a portrait that it was like a moment. They sometimes they cannot acknowledge, oh, this was created and this was captured.
Right.
And sometimes they're like, okay, we have 5 minutes to do portraits. Create your magic, and you're like, hey guys, I'm not there. So again, like, learning from all my mistakes and becoming a teacher has been so magical for me, because it keeps you wondering if what you're doing is right or wrong.
Okay.
When I teach, it's not like, hey guys, I'm better than you. Fuck no, man. It's the opposite. What are your inspiration, guys? What are you doing? What are you consuming on Instagram? Oh, it's so cool. Okay, these are mine. How about if on this workshop we attempt to mix them, and we go with that idea, because it's when you think that you're up there, it's so easy to fall.
For sure.
So yeah, for me, workshops and weddings, it's always a collaboration, and the more honest I can be with them, and I say, hey guys, on portraits, I'm gonna be like a chicken without a head. I'm gonna be running like crazy. I'm gonna be trying to shoot through things, because, as you know, because they have read, composition. It's one of the elements that I struggle the most. But if you're patient with me, I think we can get there. We can create something beautiful together.
Okay, that's interesting that you say that, because if you look through your portfolio, composition seems to be your strength.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying it's something that you really struggle with. So like when you're on a shoot, you're really sort of taking your time and you ask for the permission to take time with your clients to find those compositions that you're known for.
Correct. And sometimes like the process, it's freaking boring, Steve. Because they're there and I'm like trying to move my camera and they're like, I feel like a boxer, I'm like doing this to try to get where I want to be, but I don't know that I want to be there. so that's one of the biggest struggles. It's once I get my composition right, okay, let reality flow in, but to get there, it's not like I grab the camera, oh, masterpiece. Never, man. Never. Sometimes it takes me like 5 minutes to get to the place I want, and then we start working from there.
Okay. And when you got to that point and you see something on your camera that you think that this is the magic spot,
mm-hmm.
do you show the clients on the camera or you hold it back? No,
never, man, never. But once I get there and I think it's gonna work, it's not 100% sure that it's gonna work,
Right.
So once I get there, I don't want the magic to leave me. So it's like squeezing that inspiration, dusts. And once it's finished, I still don't show them because I want that tension between my creation and their expectations. Because if I show them like a half-assed photo, they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, I want them to blow their freaking brains out once they have the final version.
Okay,
that's my inspiration.
I'm the same, but I know a lot of photographers, they'll show the picture on the back of the camera to almost instill confidence into people that what you're creating together is working.
Yeah,
and I can see that point of view, but I'm like you. I want to hold it back and maybe crop it later on, give it the look that you're known for and all that kind of stuff. Do you ever get people asking you to recreate something that they've seen of yours?
Definitely, and I say it's not gonna be the same, but I get why you like that picture.
Okay.
So and I try to, okay, you love these elements. Let's see what we have in front of us. Like I love working with like complementary colors, and sometimes you're in a fucking jungle, so it's harder to get there. So and again, like once you go to a beautiful landscape, and then the next weekend you have like a ballroom wedding, you have to create with what you have in front of them, of you as well. So yeah, I say, hi guys, believe me, I'm gonna give 100% to blow your brains with what we have.
And I know that a big percentage of your weddings are in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So you must do a lot of the same venues again and again. Is that right?
Well, that's why I started to shoot destination weddings, because like the first years of my career, you're always inspired, and once I started to repeat the same places, I was like, I feel something's missing. I don't feel the rush again. So that's why I moved my brand from Spanish to English to try to not get bored.
Right.
So nowadays it's maybe I repeat a location, but it's like 6 months apart from each other. And I challenge myself not to go to the same spots.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if you're at the same location and you've taken a picture that you love in that location, and maybe the couple have seen that picture at that location, it must be hard not to do it again.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah. Or still, if I do it, I will not show it on Instagram or portfolio wise. It's like, it's pleasing them, and then okay, let's go and create something different for you.
Yeah, great. So let's talk about destination weddings. Obviously, that's a big part of what you've been doing until recently. Tell me the best parts and the worst parts about being a destination wedding photographer.
Well, I think the biggest struggle is your expectations, because destination feels so exotic. No, you're like, holy shit. And it has happened to me that I have traveled like 30 hours, like 3 planes, 2 buses, Ubers, walking, and then you get there, a magical place, and the couple hate each other.
Oh no.
And you're like, no, or not forever, but maybe there's some tension, So that day, they don't want to be with each other.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter if you are in a magical or if you're in freaking Tolkien land, like if you get there and the couple it's not feeling it, it's hard, man. And the opposite works the same. If you're in a shitty place and the couple are just feeling each other, magic happens, because it's easier for you to get in the flow and find beautiful light and symmetry, and you just forget about the places. Destinations can be quite easy in a way that sometimes you become like the postcard photographer, and that's so anyone can do that, so my idea, and that's why I change branding every blue moon. It's because I want them to be clear with that. Hey guys, what we're trying to do, it's an interpretation. It's not like a easy bite. So yeah, destinations are when I get to iconic places, I have a harder time because I want to hide them as much as I can.
What do you mean by iconic places?
Like if you are in Paris, no,
Right.
I don't want to show the freaking Eiffel Tower, So, or if I'm gonna show it, I'm gonna try to make it a little bit different, at least.
Sure.
But I feel the pressure, like why you book me, man? It's freaking Paris. Anyone can shoot amazing shoots here. So I go more to the, I don't know, to the tiny streets, or try to find something very local, like someone eating on the foreground or playing chess, but not the freaking iconic thing that we have seen forever.
Yeah, I gotcha. And what about personally, like all that traveling and being away from the family?
Mm-hmm.
That's always got to be hard, right? I know you have your kids and your wife, so
Yeah, it's again, it's so easy to blame them, and or to blame yourself. What I mean with this is like, okay, I'm not gonna travel because I want to be an amazing dad. Okay, for me, that's gonna become a frustration. I'm gonna be, when I'm older, I'm gonna be, oh, because of you, little freaking monsters. No, dude, I think it's the opposite. If I go far away, when I go back, I'm a freaking smiley, happy dude, and I'm gonna share that emotions with them, and I'm gonna transmit them the power of doing something that you love for a living.
yeah, that's something that is, if they see you being inspired and enjoying what you love, it's gonna help them to chase their dreams a little bit.
Yeah, that's the goal. And I have 3 kids, and what I try to do, it's try to have alone time with each of them. When we are like as a clan or as a tribe, it's hard, man. It's so many questions, so many things going at the same time. I know that my personality is more like one-on-one. So like knowing yourself and knowing what you need from them, and what's the best situation to be the best parent you can be, because it you're never going to be the hallmark father, at least I can't. I get angry, and I get like grumpy, when there's chaos in front of me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you come over here, and I go with my oldest to a library, and we spend time there. And the youngest, let's go to the mountain and do some exercise together, because I know that they need that as well. So yeah, divide and conquer, it's my formula. And as well, I'm super lucky that my wife doesn't need me, man. You know, she's not uh like a diva from the 50s. You know, she's a strong woman that she loves her job as well. So when I'm away, she's like, thank you, man, thank you for giving me my space and time to do my things. Again, I think we know, everyone as wedding photographers know, that when you start traveling for weddings, you can put your family on risk. You know, like your marriage as well. It's so easy to when you're like a speaker, you know, and people
Mm.
see you like a famous guy or whatever. It's so easy to mess up. So I know that, and I honor them. You know, so I have a Cinderella effect. Like before midnight, I go to my hotel room and I'm like, dude, bye bye everyone.
I spoke about it in another one of my videos when you shot our family. My youngest kid fell over onto the ground and was just he was crying because he fell over. And you took pictures, and you took pictures when he got up, and I gave him a kiss to make him feel better. And that picture, like in that moment, obviously I was just concerned about him falling on the ground. He was still really young, but now I see that picture, and there's just such a nice connection between father and son there. And it's, you know, I love that you carried on shooting during that time.
Yeah, and it has happened to me different times, man. Like during a ceremony, the groom just fainted on me, and I have the picture as well. You know, with his legs up, trying him to feel better, because I knew he was gonna ask that picture. And sometimes we're so concerned about, oh, what people are gonna think about me. You know, I'm not human or whatever.
Mm.
You're there to capture, man. You're not a freaking doctor. You're not a nurse. Our job is to capture what's happening in front of us. If a wedding it's boring, you're gonna capture boring shit as well. Or if the couple is boring, go with the chef, or go if a waiter it's having a smoke outside. Tell the thing that we're going on around you as well. Not only bride and groom always smiling. That's not what happens in true life. That's what I love, like European cinema, man. It's not like a soundtrack and everything's in slow motion. You know, it's slow. It requires process from the viewer. You know, like okay, what the director is trying to tell me here.
Yeah.
Instead of the American way, like here goes the action, you know, this is the bad guy, you know. It's the same with what we do. We have that ability. We can say the viewer are intelligent and emotional. Let's honor them as well.
Great. Let's talk about the post-processing part of what you do, because I know a lot of people would be really interested in that side of what you do. And you have the kind of photography that when you're scrolling through Instagram, you can tell that it's one of your photos before you see your name next to it. And I think that's something that photographers really, you know, that's like an end goal for a lot of photographers, is to have a look that is very much their own. And I think you've nailed that. How important is the post-processing, whether it's cropping an image or the tones and the kind of look that you give to it? I know you sell presets. We'll talk about that as well.
Well, I'm never happy with the looks of my pictures, to be totally honest, man. It's one of my biggest like struggles. Like I remember trying to learn from like Jeff Newsom, man, or Sam Hurt about their colors. Um, because it's a process. Once you think you're there, it's so boring. So I always add so much shit to my pictures, you know, in a way that even if I share a picture at ISO 50, I'm gonna add grain to it, because for me it feels right. But you know, in this era, photographers are afraid of noise or grain, and there's so many things how to remove things, and I always add them. um, but tones as well. I'm always watching. There's a website called film slash graph, and I'm obsessed with that website because it's just um, grabs or steals from a lot of movies.
Okay, I'll put a link in the comments below so that
Yes.
people can go and check that out as well.
It's a beautiful site, man. It's just stills, and I'm always analyzing that, like the psychology of what makes me feel. Sometimes on weddings we tend to go to the warm side because we think it's always like happier. But again, it's only in one part of the world it's considered that. So I'm trying to educate myself visually outside our industry, and for me that website, or I listen a lot to interviews with cinematographers as well, like Roger Deakins. He's one of the top UK cinematographers. He has an amazing podcast, and I'm always listening to all his interviews and how he approached different movies different ways. So yeah, the less the less thing I consume is wedding photography. I'm always trying to get inspiration from other sites.
Okay, you have these presets that you sell through DVLOP. How do you really feel about presets?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's a starting point always, because every picture I share, like I apply a preset and then I modify the shit out of it, and then at least with DVLOP you can change the curves and the palettes. You can mix and match different presets with from different photographers. So I love that part. And then I apply another software called Exposure from Alien Skin, just because I like to stack things up, So yeah, to get to those tones, it's a slow process, it's baby steps for me.
So the presets that you're selling on DVLOP, are they still the presets that you use when you edit your own images every time?
Now I'm working on the second pack. So no, like I've been working in this new pack for like a year and a half. So the newer ones, it's a different league now. Mm-hmm.
Okay, talk to me about your Patreon as well. How's that going these days?
Well, for me, Patreon it was a way to try to travel less, So for people who don't know, Patreon is like an online educational subscription based workshop. So I upload content every 8 days. No matter what. And I did it in Spanish because we have so few content in Spanish. And now, like other photographers like Victor Lax, he's an amazing photographer, a wedding photographer as well from Spain.
Yeah.
He has his own Patreon as well, and a few other guys. So for me, it's a way to give back because it's cheap as a freaking taco here in Mexico, man. and it's just a way to keep pushing myself. When you have eyes on you, it's harder to let your guard down. And I remember a few of the photographers that I loved, how I started to see their work dilute, because I think that what happened is like, yeah, I'm the big shit. The world knows, so I can do whatever I want now. Right. And for me, teaching online and being active is like, let's keep doing it, man. Like let's still earn our spot.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned that it's in Spanish. If English speakers wanted to check out your Patreon, is it going to be of any use to them?
Well, we're adding like English subtitles. But not to every video. It's more like to the behind the scenes videos. It's a slow process because, well, there are apps that they can do it automatically, but I use a lot of slang, so apps don't work on me. So it has to be manually made. So there's someone who's helping me. Anna is her name. He's a niece of me, but it's a slow process.
You're very well known for your wedding photography. I know you do a lot of families as well. Is there any other kind of photography that you do from day to day?
Well, the things I love the most are just documenting my family on a daily basis. For me, that's more than enough. It's a constant workshop, man. If you know what kind of photographers I hate, it's photographers that when they're on holidays they don't bring their cameras, man. You know, they think that they deserve how say a break from their vision.
Right.
Oh man, I hate those. I hate those guys, man. Because, dude, there's always someone with more hunger than you, and it's not true that you don't live when you grab a camera. For me, it's the opposite, man. Like my camera, it's my language.
Yeah.
So if we I don't know, if we think that we're gonna have Alzheimer in the future, and that's how I do it.
Right.
I think I'm closer to Alzheimer, so I take pictures every single day, and I'm teaching myself how to problem solve, even if I'm in a ugly diner or if I'm in a taco place. And you don't have to share those images, man. It's just to keep your eyes fresh, your instincts on as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to say that because yeah, it happens a lot. And try to find a camera that you don't have to edit them. You know, that's because the problem is on the editing. If I take these pictures, I have to spend X amount of time in the computer.
Yeah, that's for sure. Which camera are you using when you're just shooting? Like if you go out for the day with your family, you take a camera with you, what are you taking?
The first one that I fell in love with, it's the Ricoh GR.
Okay.
It's a like iPhone size camera with a 28 equivalent, and that's a freaking amazing camera, man. It's like a pocket camera. And then I moved to the Leica Q, like a lot of years ago. Yeah. And that's my go-to camera, man. And nowadays I'm using, even for my professional work and my family work, Sony has a Sony A7C.
Right.
And holy shit, man, it's a freaking powerful camera, man.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's tiny. It's like the non-full frame, but this one is full frame. Like, and you can have like a 35 mil that is like this. It's like a Fuji camera per se.
Okay. So we spoke earlier about you being in a band, and I know that you love your music. Tell me quickly about where those two things collide and how they collide.
Well, if you want to go like all Hari, and if you don't like, if it's hard for you to get inspired, man, get some headphones, put your favorite music on, and try to honor that song. You know, press play to a instrumental song and try to create poetry with that song. You know, for me, that's what happens when I'm listening to music. Something's going on in my tiny brain that makes a lot of connections inside. So I don't know. I have a like glasses with speakers on as well.
Wow.
So when I'm working, I can be listening to the kind of music it inspires me, and I feel more like a movie director.
Okay. You know? Yeah. Nice. So are you listening to soundtracks, or what kind of music are you listening to while you're editing?
Yeah, most of the time it's just like instrumental music, just to try to chill and just, I don't know, those I envy music because it's the only art, at least for me, that makes me cry no matter what. You know, like photography, I have never seen a picture that makes me cry. Never, man. Even the most powerful one.
Yeah, the only time that just seeing a picture can make me cry is if there's music playing that works with it, right?
That's it, man. Yeah.
So what kind of music would you put into do you do client slideshows still?
Yes. Well, for slideshows, I use a company called, well, for the music, it's called Artlist. Yeah. And I love it. It's a subscription and you can use a lot, and there's so much talent there, man. Well, I just listen to instrumental music, like kind of like Explosion in the Sky, Sigur Rós, Jojo Ma, or any soundtrack, man. It just goes beyond, definitely.
And is that what kind of music? Is that kind of music that you're putting in your slideshows? Obviously, you can't use those bands because of copyright, but you're getting these songs from artists. Is it similar kind of music, like kind of post rock, I guess?
Yes, but I try to remove the drums from it, because when you have a like stiff beat, I think the brain goes in a different way. So I love a lot of like cellos, or organs, that feels like like something's flowing in the air. It's not like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom. No, I like the more ethereal feel of it.
Okay. So last few questions I want to ask you specifically about music, nothing to do with photography. I want you to give me the name of one like classic album that you think everybody should have heard. I want you to tell me one new album that you would recommend everybody check out. And also the album you think you've listened to the most in your life.
Oh, shoot, man. Well, I think the one that everybody has to listen, because so many things. I'm a big fan of John Mayer. And I like that guy because he has so many layers, man. You can be, as a musician, like, oh, that music, boo, that's not for guys. But then you put the album that's called Continuum. If you don't like that album, I cannot be your friend. No, no, it's an album that he just, like, Steve Jordan is the producer, and Pino Palladino is the bass player. It's just full of magic, man. It's like going back to his like blues roots, and every song, it's just super powerful, man. It's for me, that one, it's one of the big new one. Well, not new, it's from like 2000, like 6, I think, or 3, something like that. But Continuum, for me, that's a go-to album always. Another band that always pushes, the one I have listened the most, I think it's the name of the album is called Under the Table and Dreaming, by Dave Matthews Band. And for me, those guys are an amazing example of, you don't deserve commercial success, but still you sell a lot of fucking tickets, man.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do with my photography as well. Like,
okay,
push it and get I don't know, the message to some, like 1 out of 10 people are gonna say like yes, and the rest are gonna be like, ugh, I like Dave Matthews because of that.
Okay. And one newer album that you got excited about that you think people should check out?
There's another songwriter that's called JP Sachs, and I cry like a baby, man, with his album. It's just powerful. Nirav Patel, right? Nirav?
I do.
He did the photos for that guy. I didn't knew of him, but every time, you have some friends who, when they post something, you don't ask questions, man. You just go and buy, or go and listen, or go and watch. And that artist, he's amazing, man. He's like a piano singer songwriter, and it has soul, man.
Okay. Last question. There's a lot of beginners that watch this channel. If you could go back to Fer Juaristi, like the beginning of your journey, what would be the one thing you would want that person to know as a photographer?
I think, like, not taking life seriously will help me a lot. Never give things for granted as well. Even if people are saying you're the big shit, you're like, yeah, thank you. Next, keep working.
Okay.
And be patient and proud of your steps. Like, it took me 4 years to buy my first like full frame used camera. It took me 3 years to create one picture that I was extremely proud of. So yes, I know, like, social media, it's trying to like rush things, and it's amazing and beautiful and okay, but but don't feel the pressure, man. Just know what you need to become a little bit better than yesterday, and enjoy the ride and the adventure.
Okay, I think that's perfect advice.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find you online and where they can check out your work.
Sure. Well, I'm everywhere, even on OnlyFans as ferjuaristi.com or .com. That was a joke, but for sure. Yeah, it's with J. It's a weird name, and it's my true name. Everybody thinks it's like an artist name, but no, it's my real name.
Okay, well, it's nice to have a real name that sounds like an artist name rather than having a real name that sounds like you're some footballer from England.
I still remember, man. Yeah, you still struggle, right, with that?
Yeah, even in Canada, I get it all the time. So, yeah.
But you must get a lot of like upgrades for free and shit, no? Like, oh, Steve, yours. No.
No, I wish. I remember I was shooting a wedding in Liverpool once, which is obviously where he's like the king of Liverpool. Mm-hmm. And I was staying at a pretty fancy hotel the couple had put me up in, and I arrived to check in, and you could see the disappointment in the person behind the desk when they saw that it was just me and it wasn't like that other guy.
Oh, oh, and another advice that I will definitely you remind me of something. Just be good with your peers. You know, like don't be a cynic. A lot of times we think that as grown-ups it's hard to make connections or friends, or just everybody's trying to destroy our towers, but it's not. Like, dude, like, you invite me to go to your city a lot of years ago, man, you know, and you didn't knew me, man. So it's like that. Like, it's hard to see the future, how the future is gonna go, but just be a trusted human being, and doors will open, definitely. And thank you, Steve.
Yeah, absolute pleasure catching up with you anyway, and you're always a source of inspiration for me and like tons of other people. I hope we get to hang out in real life again at some point soon. But yeah, like, thanks, man, and take care, and love to all your family. And thanks again for your time.
Oh, can I ask about your music recommendations? What will be for you, like the albums?
Well, my music taste is kind of all over the place, but do you know the guy Ben Howard?
Yes. Oh yeah, man.
Okay, so I love him. His new album is one of my favorites of the year.
Wow.
A slightly more kind of alternative rock album, which is probably my favorite album of the year, is a band called Manchester Orchestra.
Oh, yes, I listened to them. Yes, but I haven't listened to the new one.
I listened to the new one, but there's a video. There's a short song on the album. It's about 2.5 minutes long. It's really mellow, kind of acoustic song. A lot of theirs have a bit more kind of rock to them. But this one song, and especially the video that goes with it, you know, we spoke about visuals and music making you feel. If you watch this video with the music, it's pretty strong. Do you know when the new presets are going to be launched?
No, man, like they were ready since like January, but they're launching new packs, so I'm just waiting on the line.
Okay, yeah, they don't want to release everything one on top of each other, I guess.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, cool. So I'm not pushing, man. I'm like, you know what you do, man. I'm not a business guy, so I just chill.
Yeah, nice. All right, then. Well, take care, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Steve. Hi to everyone, man.
What a dude. I love Fer Juaristi. He's such a great guy. Can't wait to see him again in real life, but that little chat kind of kept me going for now. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some value from it. Definitely go and check out his work. I'm going to put all kinds of links in the description below for you to go and check out as well. So make sure you have a look at that. And there's going to be more videos like this coming up. So if you feel like that's something you want to see, make sure you do that usual stuff of subscribe and ring the bell and all that good stuff that happens on YouTube. I'm not going to tell you which photographers I have lined up, but they are not all wedding photographers. They are all kinds of stuff to do with the kind of thing that I shoot, and actually some of the things that I don't shoot. So stick around for that. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate your support, and we will see you in the next one.